A work of art lost for 80 years has resurfaced in the most unexpected of places, an online property listing. This is the story of the Portrait of a Lady, an 18th-century masterpiece looted by the Nazis and its remarkable journey back into the public eye. The painting, created by Italian master Giuseppe Ghislandi around 1710, is a full-length portrait of a noblewoman, Countess Colleoni, her dark hair elegantly styled and her dress embroidered with pastel flowers, all set in a large, ornate gold frame. For decades, its whereabouts were a mystery, a single casualty among millions of cultural treasures stolen during World War II. Its story begins with Jacques Goudsticker, a prominent Jewish art dealer in Amsterdam, who owned a collection of over 1,000 artworks. When Nazi Germany invaded the Netherlands in May 1940, Goudsticker fled for his life. Tragically, he died in an accident on the ship that was meant to carry him to safety. In his absence, his entire collection was acquired in a forced sale for a fraction of its worth by Hermann Göring, Adolf Hitler's right-hand man and a notorious plunderer of art. The Portrait of a Lady then fell into the hands of Friedrich Kadgian, a senior Nazi legal advisor and SS officer who worked as a financial advisor to Göring. Kadgian was instrumental in selling stolen Jewish assets to fund the Nazi war machine. After the war, like many high-ranking Nazis, he fled Europe to escape justice, eventually settling in Argentina, where he died in 1978. It's believed the painting traveled with him and remained with his family, hidden from the world. For 80 years, the trail went cold. Then, in August 2025, a breakthrough came from an unlikely source. Dutch journalists from the newspaper Algemeen Dagblad were investigating Kadgian's past. They stumbled upon a real estate listing for a house in the coastal city of Mar del Plata, Argentina. And there, in a photograph of the living room, hanging casually above a sofa, was the long-lost Portrait of a Lady. The property belonged to the descendants of Friedrich Kadgian. The discovery set off a dramatic chain of events. On August 25, 2025, the Dutch newspaper published its findings. Almost immediately, the real estate listing was taken down and the painting vanished from the house. Acting on an alert from Interpol, Argentine authorities launched an investigation. The next day, federal prosecutor Carlos Martinez ordered a raid on the property, but they were too late. The painting was gone. The daughter of the Nazi financier, Patricia Kadgian, and her husband were placed under house arrest, facing charges of concealment and obstruction of justice. The pressure mounted, and on Wednesday, September 3rd, the couple's lawyer surrendered the painting to the Argentinian judiciary. The artwork, valued at approximately $50,000, is now being held in a secure chamber to protect it from damage. An art expert who examined the piece confirmed it dates to around 1710 and is in good condition for its age. This recovery is a significant victory in the decades-long fight for justice by the heirs of Jacques Goudsticker. His daughter-in-law, Mireille von Saar, has tirelessly pursued the return of his stolen collection. While 202 pieces were returned to her in 2006, many more, like the Portrait of a Lady, remain scattered across the globe. The case also casts a renewed spotlight on Argentina's history as a post-war sanctuary for Nazi officials. The successful recovery was a result of international cooperation between investigative journalists, Interpol, and Argentine law enforcement. Authorities are now examining other paintings and drawings seized from the Kadgian family to determine if they were also looted. The future of the Portrait of a Lady is yet to be decided, but the Good Sticker heirs intend to file a restitution claim. Under international law, the theft is considered a crime against humanity, which means it is not subject to a statute of limitations. This single painting's journey from a prestigious Amsterdam gallery through the hands of top Nazi officials to a quiet seaside home in Argentina, and finally back into the light, is a powerful reminder of history's long reach and the enduring quest for justice.
Texas is on track to become the first state in the country to let private citizens sue anyone involved in providing or sending abortion pills. On September 3, 2025, lawmakers gave final approval to House Bill 7. The measure now awaits Governor Greg Abbott's signature, which is widely expected. If he signs, the law would take effect in December 2025 and further tighten Texas's already sweeping abortion restrictions. Context matters. After the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, Texas enacted a near-total abortion ban. House Bill 7 doesn't alter that ban. It zeroes in on medication abortion, the two-pill regimen of mifepristone and misoprostol that now accounts for most abortions nationwide. The enforcement model is what sets this bill apart. Instead of relying on prosecutors, it hands the job to ordinary Texans. Anyone in the state can file a civil lawsuit against people or companies that manufacture, distribute, prescribe, or mail abortion pills to someone in Texas. That reach extends to out-of-state doctors, telehealth services, and even shipping firms. Financial incentives are sizable. A successful plaintiff must be awarded at least $100,000 per violation. If the suit is filed by the pregnant person, the man who impregnated her, or close relatives, they receive the full amount. If someone else sues, the individual plaintiff collects $10,000 and the remaining $90,000 goes to a charity, effectively turning the lawsuit into a quasi-bounty system. A man who impregnated someone through sexual assault is barred from suing. The bill also spells out who cannot be sued. The person who takes the pills is immune from civil liability, and their identity and medical details are shielded from public disclosure. There are carve-outs for miscarriage, ectopic pregnancy, and medical emergencies. Supporters see the measure as a powerful backstop to Texas's abortion ban. John Seago, president of Texas Right to Life, calls it the most effective pro-life defense against out-of-state companies, arguing it will keep poisonous illegal drugs from crossing the border. They hope the bill becomes a model for other states that have banned abortion. Opponents view it very differently. Democratic State Senator Carol Alvarado warns it could turn a Texas abortion ban into a nationwide abortion ban, because providers in states where abortion is legal might hesitate to serve Texans for fear of litigation. Civil rights groups, including the ACLU of Texas, say the law promotes vigilantism and could unleash a wave of lawsuits that police private health decisions. House Bill 7 also confronts so-called shield laws. Several Democratic-led states recently adopted those laws to protect their doctors and pharmacists who mail abortion pills into states with bans. Texas's new measure is crafted to pierce those shields by hauling out-of-state providers into Texas courts, or at least scare them off. Legal challenges are almost certain. Critics will argue that allowing private citizens to enforce state policy beyond Texas's borders violates constitutional principles and interferes with interstate commerce. But backers count on the threat of ruinous damages and the cost of defending against multiple lawsuits to chill the flow of medication abortions long before any court reaches a final ruling. In practical terms, if the bill becomes law, Texans seeking medication abortions will face an even more complicated landscape. Traveling out of state for care may remain legal, but ordering pills through the mail could expose providers, pharmacies, and even courier services to six-figure lawsuits. So what comes next? If signed, the law activates in December 2025 unless blocked by the courts. Abortion rights advocates are preparing to sue, while anti-abortion groups are readying public campaigns to inform Texans about how to file claims. Whatever the outcome, House Bill 7 marks a new phase in the nation's abortion fight, one where the battleground isn't just state legislatures or federal courts, but potentially the inboxes and doorsteps of anyone involved in sending a pair of pills across the Texas line.
The Department of Homeland Security has opened a new detention center for immigrants, but its location is raising eyebrows and generating significant controversy. It's situated inside the Louisiana State Penitentiary, a place better known by its infamous nickname, Angola. This is the story of how one of America's most notorious prisons is now central to a new chapter in immigration enforcement. The new facility is called Camp 57, a name chosen to honor Louisiana's 57th governor, Republican Jeff Landry. It's also being called Louisiana Lockup. It was built inside a repurposed section of the Angola prison, a part of the complex that was once known as Camp J. This former unit was used for disciplinary segregation and was so harsh it earned the nickname the Dungeon. It was shut down in 2018 because of serious operational problems, including malfunctioning cell locks. After a rapid 30-day renovation, it has been reopened with a new purpose. According to federal and state officials, Camp 57 is designed to hold what they describe as the worst of the worst. The intended population is undocumented immigrants who have been accused or convicted of serious, violent crimes. Officials have labeled them high-risk alien individuals and the most dangerous of criminals. To illustrate the point, they noted that among the first group of detainees transferred to the facility were individuals convicted of second-degree murder and rape with a weapon. The facility has the capacity to house over 400 men. As of early September 2025, 51 detainees were already being held there, with plans to transfer over 200 by the end of the month. To understand the significance of this move, you have to understand the significance of Angola itself. The Louisiana State Penitentiary is the largest maximum security prison in the United States, and it is steeped in a dark history. It was once known as the bloodiest prison in America due to its extreme levels of violence. The prison's very foundation is controversial. It was built on the grounds of a former 18,000-acre slave plantation, and its name, Angola, is a direct reference to the African country from which many of those enslaved people were captured. For decades, the prison operated as a farm, where the labor of inmates, mostly African American, mirrored the work once performed by the enslaved. This history continues to cast a long shadow. In recent years, Angola has faced lawsuits over its conditions. In 2021, a federal judge ruled that the prison provided inadequate medical care to its inmates. And just last year, a lawsuit was filed alleging that forcing inmates to perform farm labor in extreme heat amounts to a modern form of slavery. It is this reputation for brutality and hardship that officials say is part of the point. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem stated that Angola's infamous reputation was absolutely a factor in its selection. The goal, she explained, is to send a clear message that there are severe consequences for undocumented immigrants who commit crimes in the United States. Noem said the choice was made to encourage people in the country illegally to self-deport. This sentiment was echoed by state officials. Governor Jeff Landry declared that the facility fulfills President Trump's Make America Safe Again promise. And Attorney General Pam Bondi, addressing the state, said, "Louisiana, you're going to be an example for the rest of this country." This new facility in Louisiana is not an isolated project. It represents a broader national strategy by the Trump administration to partner with Republican-led states to dramatically expand immigration detention capacity. Similar facilities, often with tough-sounding nicknames, have recently been announced or attempted elsewhere. In Florida, plans were made for a facility at a remote airport dubbed Alligator Alcatraz, though its operations were halted by a judge, as well as a deportation depot in a closed state prison. In Nebraska, a planned facility is set to be named the Cornhusker Clink, while an Indiana institution is being called the Speedway Slammer. These projects are part of a larger push by the administration to secure tens of thousands of new detention beds, backed by a significant budget increase for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. So the opening of Camp 57 inside Angola is more than just a new detention center. It's the combination of a new policy and a place with a long and brutal history. Officials present it as a necessary step to ensure public safety and control immigration. But by placing it in a location synonymous with some of the darkest parts of American history, they are also sending a powerful message of deterrence, one that is resonating far beyond the walls of the old prison farm.